And we will then go across to our second person of interest, 57-year-old Sanjay Takle, scripted history by becoming the first Indian to win A stage in Dakar Rally's four-wheel category, one of the toughest motorsport events in the world. We'll be talking to him about how ambition doesn't have an expiry date. That and much more coming up this morning. We'll also give you a lowdown on how it's, thank God, it's Friday, the ultimate weekend planner coming right up. Well, January 9th, which is today, is observed as Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. It's a day meant to recognize Indians who live and work outside the country and the role they continue to play back home. India today has the largest diaspora in the world. More than 35 million Indians live across North America, across Europe and the Gulf and parts of Asia. These overseas Indians are not just part of global workforces. They are closely tied to India's economy through money, through skills and long-term links with families and businesses here. One of the biggest links is remittances, money sent home by Indians working abroad. We've all been hearing of it and what it means for the Indian economy. In the last financial year alone, India received over $135 billion in remittances. That makes India the world's largest recipient. Now, these inflows support foreign exchange reserves and also help cushion the economy during global uncertainty. This impact shows up inside Indian homes as much. Now, remittances are used for daily needs, for education and for healthcare. Families with members working abroad tend to have higher financial security and also greater spending power. Healthcare is one of the biggest areas where this money is also spent. Overseas income helps pay for medical treatments, surgeries and long-term care, especially in private hospitals. Education then is another major focus. Remittance money supports school fee, college education, skill building, shaping the future workforce. And today, we'll go much beyond just these aspects. On Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, the focus is about understanding how deeply Indians abroad remain connected to not just India's economy, but everyday life as well. So allow me to bring in our guests this morning who are joining us, voices from across the global Indian community. We're first up being joined by Sauktavi Chaudhary, business leader based in Southeast Asia. Good morning. Vivek Vadva, Indian-American technology entrepreneur and academic from the US is with us as well. Good morning, sir. And Adit Kothari, founding member of the Indic Society in the UK. Good morning to the three of you. Thank you for taking out the time and being with us here. It's a special occasion indeed because so much of the Indian story actually revolves around what Indians abroad are doing, what they're getting back home, bringing back home, and more importantly, the message they're sending out to the world about what is the true essence of India. Mr. Vivek, if I can begin with you. You left India decades ago. You went on to build companies. You've been teaching at global universities, playing a key role in shaping policy debates abroad. When you look back, what did India give you that Silicon Valley later amplified? If I can put it that way.
Yeah, you know, Indians don't realize how rich they are in culture and values. What did India give me? It made me who I am. The fact that I understand humanity, the fact that I want to give back to society, the fact that I understand the purpose of life and why we're here, the fact that I'm always now trying to learn from others and I understand pain and suffering, and my focus right now is on alleviating suffering. Money, Maya is important, but it doesn't drive me. Indians don't realize how lucky they are to live in this rich culture and values where we talk about these things as if they're normal. You go to the West and you talk about giving back, you talk about culture and values, family values, even the importance of education, and people look at you as if you're strange. Silicon Valley, where I live, it's all about money, 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 money. You go to a venture capitalist and say you're trying to build a company that'll help the poor, that'll help uplift humanity, and they'll throw you out of the office in the next moment. Here, these are part of our culture. This is who we are, what we are. So what did India give me? It gave me this sense of purpose and belonging and this determination. At even my age, I'm 68 years of age right now. I'm working harder than I ever did in my life because I consider it my mission to give back to humanity. This is what India gave me.
How lovely. Mr. Kothari, if I can now come to you and shift the conversation from just the economics and the key highlight of what really Indians truly feel about their culture. Tell us, how you think the role of Indian diaspora has evolved from being economic contributors alone, because largely the last 2 decades or so, that's been the story of Indians who are working abroad. So from that to active narrative shapers now.
So I think when we look at the Indian diaspora abroad, I mean, slowly, they have achieved high feats in domains of economics, in technology, in the IT sector, etc. And that automatically sort of translates into, them sort of ensuring that they are lobbying for better policies, and as a consequence, they are then becoming narrative shapers. Now, as a consequence of what is happening politically across the Americas and the UK, for example, the rise of anti-Hindu and anti-India hate, we've seen a surge of almost 700% of hate crimes against the Hindu diaspora in the UK since the Leicester riots, since 2022. So they have now actively come into countering the misinformation that has now spread across the academic domains and the journalistic domains. So now Indians are slowly sort of understanding the importance of using that soft power and leveraging it to ensure that they can consolidate their positions better and ensure that, the communities, the other host nations, the other diasporas that live abroad, understand the significance of Indian diaspora living with them. I mean, Mr. Badwa is from the US, so he'd probably concur with me. The kind of taxes that the Indians are actually contributing to the UK, I think it's to the tune of almost about $300 billion. It's unparalleled with the kind of proportion of population that they are of the US, and the kind of contributions that they're providing in terms of taxations is massive. So the communities need to understand how important it is to have communities like the Indians who are net contributors and not net consumers. Whereas, there are communities which are coming across into the Western world who are predominantly coming in as not as economic immigrants, but as immigrants who predominantly want to basically extract out of the systems. And that is not what the Indian diaspora stands for. So I think that sort of narrative building is slowly now starting. People are starting to have those important conversations as to how much, low crime rate the Indian diaspora is involved in, and how much of a net contributor they are.
And that plays a huge role in how Indians are viewed abroad, across the world. Mr. Chaudhary, good morning. Let me ask you, how do you then strike the balance? So we've spoken about the economics of it all, what Indians bring to the table. Why is it such a warm reception everywhere we go? There is something that we leave behind, but you've had your own share of experience. Tell us, how do you kind of strike that balance? So you got to be competitive out there, but at the same time, Indians want to make sure that they're not losing their cultural grounding. How does that happen? How do you make it happen?
Yes, sir. You see, we are Northeast in Assam and Laos is almost similar culture. And we also always inviting our culture Northeast Indian culture in Laos, and we show them to how is our culture is, how is your culture is almost same. And last time is our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, his own visit in Laos. Then we show in front of him Bihu dance. Which one is he like it? And he asking is once more, and their performance is 2 times.
Not just that, we've seen how when Indian leaders travel abroad, there is so much of Indian delicacies now on the menu. There's so much change that we've seen essentially the last decade or so. Mr. Wadhwa, has the idea India or the world changed to India and the world, especially for many young Indians abroad who've been looking at that opportunity and finally have been able to get to that point?
First of all, what has changed is that India is now a land of opportunity. When my generation came from India to the United States, there was no opportunity in India. The country was practically going bankrupt under the policies that had been implemented. There was nothing to do over here. Now there's more opportunity for young entrepreneurs, even for students who study abroad in India than there is in the West. So they see this now as a country that is, rising, that has all the talent that they need to be able to build companies or to implement their ideas. So they're now looking at India in a very positive light. They're not ashamed of India. like a previous generation of Indians were. They're actually proud of their country. So this mindset change is leading now to many people coming back to India to build over here. And it's causing people like me who live in Silicon Valley to build their companies in India because of what India has to offer. It's a huge, huge change from just 20 or 30 years ago.
Can you just quickly put out an interesting story for us, a story that can inspire us to actually think that yes, many are walking that talk, many are now turning back to India. So there are people who've moved away, they've been abroad for a few years and are now looking at job opportunities back in India. So tell us if you have any interesting stories, Mr. Wadhwa, of this reverse trend that's kicked in sharply the last 5 to 10 years.
I can tell you my own story.
Okay.
See, I lost my wife to cancer, decided I'm going to do something about making sure that no one suffers the way she did. I started developing a technology that can diagnose disease at the earliest stage. Now, living in Silicon Valley, my first instinct was to raise $20 or $30 million in Silicon Valley. But again, as I said earlier, when I spoke to the venture capitalists there and said this is to help poor, to help the people in need, they just couldn't understand it, and I came to India. I bet my future in India. I started doing R&D over here. India has an inferiority complex. This is one of the things that still bothers me, that India doesn't believe what it can do. It doesn't believe it has deep tech. It doesn't believe it has AI talent. It doesn't believe it has entrepreneurial skills. I came here and within 2 years, India has built technology for me, achieved what could possibly not happen in the West. So, you talk about betting on India and this trend, I'm doing it. As are the people I have working for me in India. I have AI developers, I have plasma scientists, I have engineers, I have an entire range of very highly deep science and technology skills, people working in India. Not once do they ever talk about going to the United States. They want to build in India, for India, and then share with the world. So this entire mindset change has happened. And India doesn't realize it's like the frog in the boiling water. You don't realize how hard it's getting. Well, India is there now. India is the land of opportunity in innovation, in deep science, in artificial intelligence. You talk about anything that needs to be done, it can happen in India. And that
but
also
had these young entrepreneurs, Mr.
Wadhwa,
Wadhwa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, had they turned back to India a little sooner, possibly we would have been a little ahead in the AI race or in the tech race. So we're slightly late, I think. But yeah, the Indian story finally has arrived. So it's great news overall. Adit, tell us about diaspora and the second, third generation. So we're now essentially seeing, the diaspora constitutes of second, third generation Indians. How do you think in their mind the idea of being Indian has evolved over the last few years, if at all?
So I think because of the cultural connotations that they brought up with, the sort of emotional investment in their lives is very high. And that is through the various festivities that we have, the cultural festivities, be it Diwali, Holi, their own sort of regional festivities, be it Chhath. I'm from West Bengal, so Durga Puja is massive for us. And you see that kind of emotional investment translating onto the streets of London and New York, where, Durga Puja is celebrated across the 9 days with high amount of spirits. And, we're not sort of unfazed any longer. We're not scared of demonstrating who we are. We're very proud of actually celebrating and showing our cultural dominance. That we are a civilization of 5,000 years old, and this is the kind of cultural connotations that we bring across to your streets. Diwali is now celebrated as a global festival. Holi is actually celebrated as a global festival, where you see rave parties basically being held with colors and etc. So I think there is that sort of emotional investment, and the young Indians who are the Indian origin people of various backgrounds are now growing up, understanding what it means to them. They're understanding their civilizational roots, they're understanding their history, and now they're connecting to it. I think where we are
certainly lacking... So they no longer feel confined to religious practices, cultural participation, festive participation. They're actually embracing it more and more.
That's true. I mean, you say my daughter would identify herself as a British Indian. She wouldn't just identify herself as British only. Similarly, Americans growing up in in the US would identify themselves as Indian Americans. Rishi Sunak has been one of the biggest mantle bearers of our civilizational value system. I mean, he took the oath on Gita. There was a big amount of ruckus about it, but there was also vast amount of support for it because he was embracing his identity, and he's not scared of embracing who he truly was. He's an Indian he's a British of Indian origin, and he was elected to become the prime minister, the first Asian prime minister of Britain. But at the same time, I feel from a governmental perspective, from a policymaker perspective, there needs to be more outreach done through the various missions to ensure that these various people living across the seven seas, they feel sort of not alienated. They are just not looked as partial stakeholders where they're basically investing into the Indian economy and becoming part of that whole churning system through becoming the economic remittance holders. They need to be felt more secure. So I'm not saying that they should be given dual citizenship, but the OCI needs to be strengthened further to ensure that they're given a bit more leverage of being,
and so they can make frequent trips to India. Not to take away from the seriousness of the conversation, but yeah.
Absolutely. Just not that, but also the fact that, OCIs are now being looked at as more as privilege rather than right.
Okay. Mr. Chaudhary, I'd like to bring you in and look at the micro picture here. If an Indian today wants to build a career outside of India, what skill matters more than degree?
Skill matter, you see, take risks. Whenever you take the risks, there is success. People are said always that waiting for the right time and right decision. Right decision is never coming. That's why you have to take your own decision and you have to take the risks. When is the risk is the success, and when is the mistake? You did the mistake, and after mistake, you do the success. That is the mean success. Some people mistake mean. You take the mistake, that means you are success. You don't do the mistake, that you are not success. That's why our people, I tell them whenever people coming, you see, you have to take the risks. Without takes, you cannot grow, because you say the right time. Right time never come to you.
Oh, yes, I agree. Mr. Wadhwa, what is it about Indians? So you spoke of how India is already there. Indians are right on top. We do not need to feel the inferiority complex that we're coping with or fighting on a daily basis. But what is it about Indians abroad that makes them so successful as founders, as innovators? Is it something to do with the education model, or is it the cultural mindset, or there's more?
Well, let's look at Satya Nadella. Okay, he runs one of the most valuable companies in the world. Before Satya Nadella took over Microsoft, it was known as the evil empire. People used to talk about Bill Gates being Darth Vader. And then along came Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, if you Google him, you'll see videos of him acting like a monkey, literally getting on stage, hoo, ha, ha. And then the killer sales mindset he brought into the company. Microsoft was the most hated company in the world before Satya came in there. Within 10 years, he transformed Microsoft into a company that's respected, that across the industry, it's no longer considered as a dying company, as an evil dinosaur. It's considered to be the future. I mean, everyone respects the company. What did Satya do? He brought in his deep Indian culture and values of respect. I mean, you don't when you look at Satya Nadella versus Elon Musk. Elon Musk is hated by half of America. Even though he's the greatest innovator of our time, people despise him, they hate him, they fear him. Satya Nadella, gentle, mild, respectful. He's increased the value of the company more than tenfold. And he's also now turned it into a company that people consider to be the future rather than the past. This is because of the values and the culture he brought into it. That's where the magic happened.
Okay, that's where the magic happened. It sounds magical as well. Adit, is this magic being embraced by the young diaspora? So you spoke of your daughter, you gave us a small example, but do you think increasingly they're very, very concerned about the image India enjoys in their country? So in UK, for instance, how concerned is your daughter about what people say about Indians and what they have to really say about the country?
So that is where I think India needs to do much more. We need to ensure that there is a lot of anti-India rhetoric that we see often stemming from academia. Now, that is also due to either willful ignorance, or it is, a lot of times it is done in a very feral manner, where academicians use their power to basically, encourage anti-India information campaigns. I'm talking about universities like King's College, where I passed out from. You have the India Study Center there, which is often in the news peddling anti-India disinformation. I think that's where I think India needs to ensure that they're able to mitigate and clamp down on that sort of disinformation right at the root of it, so that it doesn't sort of further into the diaspora. Now, what that does is, when academicians use their power to yield disinformation, it sort of conditions a set of people, a generation of people, to believe in certain values, in certain information, and then they grow up with that. And that can be avoided if the policymakers in India realize this. Rajiv Malhotra from the US has written very well about this in his books, The Snakes in the Ganges, and a number of other books, where he talks about how Indian monies, the Ambanis and the Mahindras, who are investing in the US universities, but are not actively looking at where the investments are being used, where the monies of Indians are being used by the academicians abroad to basically write anti-India and anti-Hindu information.
And how do diaspora groups like yours then play a role in keeping countering not just the narrative that needs to be countered, but also keeping Indian culture alive and vibrant abroad?
So from a cultural perspective, I think there are a number of organizations which exist, which look at festivals, which look at language and dance classes. Now you actually have schools which are looking at a very Indic form of education system. So there are the Avanti schools in the UK, for instance. They've now they span across the London and the Leicester metropolitan cities, and they are basically looking at education from a very yoga-centric perspective, a very dharmic sense, a very human touch to education at large. So there are organizations which is doing that sort of job. But from a more political, societal perspective, there are very few organizations which are actually taking the mantle and challenging the norms, challenging the age-old biases which we see often demonstrated by the BBC, for instance. How the BBC uses its platform to basically call Holi a filthy festival, but there is absolutely no challenge coming from the government of India. So it's down to people like us.
But are people really giving into that kind of a narrative? Because there are still a huge section of people abroad who are embracing Indian values, culture, tradition, religion, festivities. So many of them are now moving to India altogether. Rishikesh, for instance, there are so many foreigners out there who've embraced that way of life and really don't want to give into this kind of a narrative. So what I'm saying is that there are, I think, all kinds of people, and it's what you want to believe in and what you pick really for yourself. But Mr. Wadhwa, closing remarks here. Yeah, running out of time, so I need to quickly wrap up.
I was just going to say quickly that you see the surge of far right in across Europe and America, so that will have an impact on the Indians living there. Sorry, Mr. Wadhwa.
Okay, lovely. Mr. Wadhwa, closing remarks. Because
what I would say is that a lot of what you're hearing is a tempest in a teacup. Yes, on social media, you've got the anti-H1B people going crazy. Yes, you've got a bunch of academics who are so extreme left and out of touch that they don't know what they're doing. You also have a Khalistani movement, but this is the fringe. Just like we have a fringe in India, we have a fringe in the United States and Europe that is very loud and noisy. But the rest of America respects Indians. The fact that you can have Indian, and half Indian almost becoming president of the United States, the fact that you have Indians running for Senate and for governorships and so on, is because Indians are widely respected. We are everywhere. We're in universities, doctors, schools, you name it, Indians are everywhere, and they're building trust and confidence and respect from Americans. So yes, you're hearing a lot of noise right now, but don't get, let's not have that overshadow what we're doing. Indians are achieving success everywhere, and they're uplifting the world because of their culture and their values.
And what's the biggest responsibility, Mr. Wadhwa, that lies on them? So the biggest responsibility of successful Indian abroads, if you could just sum this up for us in 30 seconds.
We have to educate, we have to inspire, we have to motivate, we have to show them the depth of our culture and values, we have to teach them. give back to the world the way India always has. This is why India was always respected, because it was always giving to the world. Nalanda University used to teach the world. Okay, our culture and values are all over the world. We have to continue that and remember what we have and value our what we have here, our culture and values.
Okay. Aditya, I want to come to you. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to quickly swing in 2-3 questions because it's a day that we really need to discuss where we're headed. Tell us if you can recall or share a moment when you felt most Indian outside of India. Because that's also a point of reflection on how a lot of people, you live by your day and you don't end up realizing these small little things. So give us a quick example if you have any.
I think for me, watching Sadiq Khan, who's the mayor of London, come out to Trafalgar Square and celebrate Diwali with scores of Indians, I think that was a celebration on its own. It sort of, took us back a few years to how Diwali was basically celebrated and should be celebrated across the world, where it's just not confined to one particular religious community, but it should be celebrated across humanity. Because it's a fight of good over evil, and that is the spirit that it should be celebrated in. So the fact that a Muslim mayor of London came in to celebrate that, goes to demonstrate that this has an appeal across the continents, across religious lines, etc. And that's the sort of Indianness that I think one can be particularly extremely proud about.
Mr. Wadhwa, would you have a moment on top of your mind when you felt most Indian outside of India, or does that keep happening every now and then?
You see, when I fight these battles with the anti-immigrant groups, when I now talk about Indian culture and values, this is the Indianness in me. I take pride in Indian culture. If you can hear the things I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of problems in India. There's a lot to be we're concerned about, sad about. There are extreme fringe, elements in India also. But the fact is that when you look deeper than that, when I look at myself, when I look at what I'm doing now, the fact that I'm spending day and night giving back to society is because of what my parents taught me, what what India taught me, what India gave me. So it's given me a gift to give me a purpose and to give me a reason to exist and to work hard. I don't know what more you can expect from any country.
Yeah. Thank you to the both of you. That's all the time we have, but thank you for inspiring us, for really walking the talk and really painting this beautiful image of India while you continue to stay a little away from all of us. We'll reconnect soon. Many thanks for joining us this morning on The Breakfast Club. We head into a very short break. Coming right up is our person of interest, Rehana Rea, one of India's leading women bike racers. Her story is interesting, full of inspiration and ambition. We'll go over to her in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Now shifting focus to Bangladesh, amid rising cases of anti-Hindu hate in Bangladesh, my colleague Pallavi, who is reporting from Ground Zero, speaks to a Hindu daughter fighting for her mother's release. A year back, Jamaat men entered the home of advocate Tureen, attacked her with pencils and hit her mother. She was arrested, accused of favouring Hasina and India and being anti-Jamaat. The incident has sparked controversy with allegations of targeted harassment and communal violence. Tureen's family claims that the attack was a response to her social media posts and activism. The Jamaat-e-Islami has denied involvement, but Tureen's supporters argue that the arrest is an attempt to silence her. Tureen's case has gained attention on social media, with many calling for her mother's release and justice. The investigation is ongoing and Tureen continues to fight for her mother's freedom.
Well, as Bangladesh is going through its battle for democracy, we were also talking about a daughter's fight for her mother. We, of course, for obvious reasons, are not going to reveal her name and also her face. Thank you very much for speaking to me, first of all. It must have been a traumatic fight to fight for your mother. How has it What has been the experience? What did you see her mother go through?
My mother was arrested for false cases and she was allegedly put behind the bars, but she did nothing like that. And she was beaten up in the remand of 7 days. The court is not giving her bail and she is suffering from fever, cold, and she has cancer too. So it's very difficult for her to survive in the jail.
But why was she picked up in the first place?
Because she was targeted by her enemies like the Jamaati Islams and the BNPs.
Because you know, I had met her once, long time back, and I remember she had shown me pictures of her being hurt, and I remember those marks. So, but she is a strong woman. She is someone who is resilient. Are there any moments when you feel that she has turned weak?
She has turned weak when my Nana, her father, died due to heart attack and she was broken. She had no support. There was no one to make her comfortable, or there was many financial problems, but we have overcome through the years.
What has your mother taught you? What have you learned from her? Why is she your inspiration?
Because she taught me to fight the battle even if I am alone, and she taught me to never break down or show my weakness to people.
But there must be moments when you feel lonely. Are there moments when you feel weak?
No, because at that time I pray to Allah and ask for strength and ways to overcome the difficulties that I will face or I am facing.
You're a student.
Yes.
You want to finish your studies. You
Yes.
don't want to leave Bangladesh.
No, I don't want to leave Bangladesh.
Why?
Because it is my birthplace and I have everything here, so I don't want to leave.
Are you hopeful that your mother will come out soon?
There is no hope, but maybe Allah will help us.
But why do you say that there is no hope?
Because there are so many tensions running in the country and there are so many evidences made against her.
Also, if you want to talk about that particular day when she was at home and there are some people who entered the house and they kind of tried to attack her. They did put her those pencil marks, because that's when I remember I interviewed her. Can you just describe that moment? I mean, did you see what happened, or you don't want to talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it because I was locked in a room and there were screams, and that was a very traumatic night, and we were not able to overcome the trauma for several months.
You know, there must be many other women like you, young girls, boys for that matter, who may be also going through a similar.
Welcome back. We now go over to our person of interest, Rehana. Rehana is one of India's leading women bike racers, competing in a sport that's still dominated by men. She began racing professionally in her early 20s and quickly made her mark on the national circuit. Over the years, she's won national titles, represented India at international championships in the women's class, and has competed at the Asia Road Racing Championship as well. Rehana's success has made her a poster figure for women's motorcycle racing in India, inspiring others to pursue racing. Let's go over to her to talk speed and much more. Hi Rehana, good morning. Hope you're doing well. You race in a space, Rehana, and we just mentioned this, where very few women are visible. Or at least that was the case when you possibly began. Things are slowly changing, but what inspired you to take up the sport in the first place?
So basically, you know, this bike racing is all about male-dominating sport. That's what I heard when I was in my childhood. And a lot of many other sports like football, cricket, you see a lot of people say that it's always sporting is always for men, not for women. Where I have grown up in a situation, that's how it was, because since I'm from a very conservative and very religious family background, so it was very odd for me that I can't do motorcycle racing, and people were telling women can't do motorcycle racing. This is not for women. It's only for men's sport, and that's where I got inspiration to get into this sport. And I'm very good at motorcycles. Why? Because motorcycle doesn't have any gender, male or women, or anybody it is. It doesn't have any gender. So basically, that is how I chose this sport. So yeah, that's how it inspired me to get into the sport.
And of what I've read, your brother's also played his own role in shaping this journey for you, because he's a former bike racer, if I'm not wrong. But speaking of the first real barrier, you spoke of the challenges that you had to encounter, face, deal with. But which one was that first real barrier you had to push past? So was it training, was it mindset, or was it, like you said, societal pressure?
Is a lot more than this. It's all whatever you told me right now. Inclusive of this, there's lots more other barriers which I have faced in my life. When it comes to financial background, when it comes to educational. When I started my racing career, I was just doing my college those times. So my education wise, financially, and you also know when a woman is getting into such sport, there's always people say from behind relatives, society, and you just ride like a boy, and you can't do this. And there's so many other barriers to get into the spot where I'm right now. So I would say yes, there were a lot of barriers which I have faced, and the physical barriers and also the financial barriers where I have faced. So
Hopefully, Rehana, fingers crossed. I hope the mindset is shifting from, oh, you look like a boy, to, oh, you look so cool. But do you remember the moment, Rehana, when you realized that racing wasn't just going to be a hobby, that this is what you wanted to take up lifelong?
yes, I definitely can't lose this memory. This is my best one of the memory. Why? Because that's where I got the spot and the sparkle inside me that I wanted to be a very professional woman racer in the country. That's my first very win in the racetrack, and that's my first ever racing. And after my training, we had a couple of training before you race. So I had a couple of training. After the training, the organizer has discussed to keep a specific women race, particularly for the Indian women sector. So that's where I participated. Right after the moment, I was a rookie. I was a beginner. I have no experience in racing in the track. I just passed out with my racing school. And right after that, there was a racing event happening. I mean, the race was on. So I was pushed to race on that with zero experience. And then I started from the third in the grid, and I finished first. Overtaking everyone who's also experts who've been riding from long years, and I overtook them and I won the first medal, and that was my first spark where I got it. Yes, people told me that you do really good and you have to take this as a profession. So that's when I wanted to develop my skill and wanted to get into racing. So I can see whether I can extend my skills, my training programs. And see, racing is something which you will not learn it from a day.
Yeah.
Definitely it takes quite huge time to to train any it can be in any sport.
Clearly, because of the visuals were playing out of you on the bike, it surely took a long time to master all those skills. You're pulling it off so wonderfully. Brianna, it looks thrilling on the outside. We can see all of that. You look great on your bike. One can't tell that that's you behind the helmet. But what does it demand from you on the inside? So tell us about your physical, emotional challenges there, and how did you really deal with those?
Racing demands a lot, actually. It looks very easy from outside. It looks cool. It looks crazy. It looks it looks nice from outside, but from inside, you need to have a lot of strength. passion, determination, dedication towards the sport, and you have to have that goal inside you to push your limits. You might have a good suit, you might have a good boot, you might have a best in everything, every outfit, but for the sport, you require a lot of mental fitness and physical fitness. The only bridge between male and female would be the fitness and physical strength. I think that we have to mold according to that. So, yeah. So I think that's the only thing we have to, that demanded a lot for me physically. So I trained really well. I do cycling, I do swimming, I spend a lot of time in the gym, and yeah, there's so much of behind scenes to get into the top spot. So it demands a lot of physical strength and also financial strength. Yes.
And how do you deal with fear on the track? I'm sure you're way past that stage, but let's say in your initial sporting career, how did you really overcome those small little fears on the racing track?
See, when you want to be into racing or there are so many sports which is very adventurous. Just like racing, you see horse racing, which I admire a lot. You have to be fearless. You have to be more concentrated. You should not remember the name called fear. You should take out from the in your dictionary. That's how it is. When I started racing, I'm a child where I don't fear in such adventurous things, because I don't know, I've grown up like that. And when I put my leg on the first time on the racetrack, I had no fear. That's what my coach said. And you are fearless, I think you will go way more higher in life. And the moment you fear, you can't race. Racing something like you have to be fearless, you have to be very powerful, you have to have that fire inside you. Overtake anyone, any of your competitors. So I think I was not scared at all. See, when you have to achieve something in life, you have to go one more step ahead and extra. You have to push yourself extra ahead to be on the spot. So that is what it requires to be.
You're almost telling us, Rihanna, that you were born to do this, that you were this was your purpose. This was your purpose in life. But has there been a race you lost that has left you with lessons for life? Surely there have been great wins, but there have been big, setbacks as well. What have they taught you?
Yes, there are plenty many races where I can mention on in front of you guys. There's so many races. That's how you develop as a professional rider. There's not only the happy times. You should also face all those bad times within you. I have so many crashes. There was a time where I was, I think 2018, and after 2018, I won my 2019 national championship. After 2021, 22, all these years, I've been leading all the way in the championship. But at the end of the race, last moment, the finale, I would drop my bike off, or someone will hit me. I will crash. I will get into injuries where it will take me huge time to get back on my track, on my bike. So that has made me realize about racing is not just about speed. It's not just about yourself getting into the bike, warming up, suiting up and riding. It's all about patience. You should have a lot of patience, which racing has taught me to mold up myself. I should have a patience, and also I should have that smartness inside me, where you have to play smart. It's not only the sport you have to give the throttle aggressively. You should know where you have to move, how you have to move. It's just not only in the sport, outside the sport as well. So patience is very much where I have learned from the sport.
And patience is the key to success in any sport. It applies to each and every sport. And over the last few years, Rihanna, truly speaking, we've seen a lot of women representation in biking as well. So there are several events that take place on an annual basis, and I do see a lot of women athletes also turn up as motivational speakers to share their journey to inspire younger women, but largely it is a sport still which is male dominant. Have you ever felt underestimated in this space?
It is a male dominating sport, yes, I agree. But I have never felt that I am not suitable for this, because since I'm a woman, I can't do racing. Never ever in my life I felt that it's a male sport, I shouldn't take up it. Why? Because sporting is something, it's not divided or distinguished in the gender, as I told you. And so societies, yes, definitely they have mocked me, they put me down, said that you can't do it, you're a girl. And you see this environment around the track is full of boys. 90% of the boys, you see 10% or 15% women are on the track. So that something inspires me a lot, where I'm one among the squad with the boys. My goal is always to train with boys, to get better with boys. You see, I compare myself to be on their level. I just don't want to train saying this gender can be better, that gender can be better. So I don't mind about that. Even in racing track, I think I've raced with boys as well. I've taken some championship with the men's. I've raced plenty of races with men's, and I've taken a lot of boys ahead of me. So I've finished. I think top. I've completed my top international races with the boys in top 5. I will be the only female to race and represent India. So I don't think so. That never got into my head.
Well, the society may have questioned you at some point in time, but it's lovely to hear, Rehana, that the boys don't pull you down. They don't treat you as an outsider. So that's great. You recently also represented India in Spain at the Moto Student International Competition. What was that experience like?
Oh, that was really lovely. I'm actually grateful to have such an opportunity as a woman rider from India. So I was a second female kid selected to go to represent in Sweden, and that was a crazy event for me. And my family and myself was very proud to get in there. And that international exposure where we never met. Yes, I've been to such Asian countries like Thailand, Taiwan, and some other few more other places. But this European exposure was completely crazy, and we had a good time there. And I had a very great experience of riding with other few riders. And I would mention that I was the only female to race in that category.
Okay, we need to exit this racing track, Rehana. So very quickly, when you see or when young girls watch you race today, what message do you want to give them?
See, recent days, parents, I would say, message has to go to the parents first. See, that's how it has happened to me, because my parents never was really appreciating me getting into racing or something. So it's all about parents who has to teach them from young. Let it be any sport, any other sport, let it be badminton, cricket or volleyball, whatever is it. I would say, even if there are some villages where the girls have the dream to get into any sport, like they wanted to do something better in life. I want to tell them one thing, that be fearless. Never think my mom will never let me, my dad will never let me go out. I shouldn't be doing this. Financially, I'm so poor, I can't do this. I would be the great example for it. My parents never let me out in any place. I have never gone out of my house. But it was me that my innocence wanted to go out and do. And when I had the doubt, I didn't resist and I didn't hesitate. So I asked a few people how to do it, where to do it, how was it. So just because I didn't hesitate, that is why I'm standing right now here. So I hope all the girls who's watching this video, hope you should be fearless. Don't think about anything later in future. The first step, you have to come forward and try. Just give it a try. Without trying, life doesn't take you anywhere else. So try and then just check on yourself where you stand from the place, and then think wisely and decide and take your road.
Okay, to all the young girls, Rehana says, find the courage to find your bike. Thank you so much, Rehana. It's been wonderful having you on the Breakfast Club. Thank you for joining us. With that, we head into a very quick break. We're not done as yet. Lots lined up for you over the weekend. We'll be giving you a lowdown in just a bit. Keep watching.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Now shifting focus to Bangladesh, amid rising cases of anti-Hindu hate in Bangladesh, my colleague Pallavi, who is reporting from ground zero, speaks to a Hindu daughter fighting for her mother's release. A year back, Jamaat men entered the home of advocate Tureen, attacked her with pencils and hit her mother. She was arrested, accused of favouring Hasina and India and being anti-Jamaat. The incident has sparked controversy with allegations of targeted harassment and communal violence. Tureen's family claims that the attack was a response to her social media posts and activism. The Jamaat-e-Islami has denied involvement, but Tureen's supporters argue that the arrest is an attempt to silence her. Tureen's case has gained attention on social media, with many calling for her mother's release and justice. The investigation is ongoing and Tureen continues to fight for her mother's freedom.
Well, as Bangladesh is going through its battle for democracy, we were also talking about a daughter's fight for her mother. We, of course, for obvious reasons, are not going to reveal her name and also her face. Thank you very much for speaking to me, first of all. It must have been a traumatic fight to fight for your mother. How has it what has been the experience? What did you see her mother go through?
My mother was arrested for false cases and she was allegedly put behind the bars, but she did nothing like that. And she was beaten up in the remand of 7 days. The court is not giving her bail, and she is suffering from fever, cold, and she has cancer too. So it's very difficult for her to survive in the jail.
But why was she picked up in the first place?
Because she was targeted by her enemies like the Jamaat-e-Islams and the BNPs.
Because you know, I had met her once, long time back, and I remember she had shown me pictures of her being hurt, and I remember those marks. So, but she is a strong woman. She is someone who is resilient. Are there any moments when you feel that she has turned weak?
She has turned weak when my Nana, her father, died due to heart attack, and she was broken. She had no support. There was no one to make her comfortable, or there was many financial problems, but we have overcome through the years.
What has your mother taught you? What have you learned from her? Why is she your inspiration?
Because she taught me to fight the battle even if I am alone, and she taught me to never break down or show my weakness to people.
But there must be moments when you feel lonely. Are there moments when you feel weak?
No, because at that time I pray to Allah and ask for strength and ways to overcome the difficulties that I will face or I am facing.
You're a student.
Yes.
You want to finish your studies. You
Yes.
don't want to leave Bangladesh.
No, I don't want to leave Bangladesh.
Welcome back. The weekend is finally here and the entertainment lineup is all stacked. From fresh releases in theatres to new OTT drops and live shows across cities, there's something for everyone this weekend. So whether you're heading out, you're staying in, here's Thank God It's Friday for you. Your weekend cheat sheet by Kaveri Gupta.
Hello wonderful people, it's me Kaveri Gupta back again with your favorite weekend cheat sheet. Thank God it's Friday the one where we tell you exactly what to do this weekend. So settle in, grab that popcorn and silence your phone because the big screen is calling loud and clear. In theatres, first up we have Kis Kis Ko Pyar Karu 2. Kapil Sharma is back with his trademark chaos and comedy. After facing stiff box office competition during its December release, the makers are giving the film a second chance with a re-release today. Next is Parashakti releasing on January 10th. Based on true events, this powerful film takes us back to 1965 Tamil Nadu. During the anti-Hindi imposition agitations, a hard-hitting, socially charged story that sheds light on a defining political movement. And then comes Prabhas starrer The Raja Saab, fantasy, horror, comedy all rolled into one. Also starring Sanjay Dutt, Boman Irani and Nidhi Agarwal, the film follows a man searching for his missing grandfather, only to stumble into a haunted mansion with a sinister secret. But if you're too lazy to leave the couch, OTT has you covered. Here's what's streaming and trending right now. De De Pyar De 2 on Netflix. The romantic comedy returns. The sequel takes Ashish and Aisha's love story to India, where Ashish now has to win over Aisha's modern Punjabi family. Starring Ajay Devgan, Rakul Preet Singh, R. Madhavan. Expect laughs, family drama and plenty of heart. Streaming on Netflix again, we have People We Meet on Vacation. Based on Emily Henry's best-selling novel, this rom-com is about polar opposite best friends whose lives take an unexpected turn when friendships begin to feel like something more cozy, emotional and perfect for a weekend binge. Last, we have Freedom at Midnight 2 streaming on Sony Live. After chronicling the road to independence, Season 2 dives into the turbulent months after 1947. This historical drama is intense, emotional and deeply relevant. Now let's step out and soak it all in. If you are an out and about kind of a weekend warrior, here's where you should be. The melody king of Bollywood takes the stage. Kumar Sanu is all ready to transport you straight back to the golden era of love songs. Get ready for pure nostalgia that is happening tomorrow in Delhi. Mumbaikars, we bring you Resound with Lucky Ali happening on January 11. A soulful journey through decades of music that define generations. From nostalgic classics to a refreshed new age soundscape, experience the magic of an icon live on stage. Last, we have Papa Yaar by Zakir Khan on January 10. Papa Yaar is a heartfelt, hilarious tribute to fatherhood and the unspoken bond between Indian fathers and sons. Trust us, this one's special. And that's a wrap for me this week. Catch you next time with more big screen buzz, OTT goodies and the hottest events around. Until then, keep binging. Ciao.
Well, that's the many ways in which you can keep yourself entertained over the weekend, because we're going to see you next Monday. Thank you for tuning in all week long. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place. Bye-bye.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Now shifting focus to Bangladesh, amid rising cases of anti-Hindu hate in Bangladesh, my colleague Pallavi, who is reporting from ground zero, speaks to a Hindu daughter fighting for her mother's release. A year back, Jamaat men entered the home of advocate Tureen, attacked her with pencils and hit her mother. She was arrested, accused of favouring Hasina and India and being anti-Jamaat. The incident has sparked controversy with allegations of targeted harassment and communal violence. Tureen's family claims that the attack was a response to a social media post and activism. The Jamaat-e-Islami has denied involvement, but Tureen's supporters argue that the arrest is an attempt to silence her. Tureen's case has gained attention on social media, with many calling for her mother's release and justice. The investigation is ongoing and Tureen continues to fight for her mother's freedom.
Well, as Bangladesh is going through its battle for democracy, we were also talking about a daughter's fight for her mother. We, of course, for obvious reasons, are not going to reveal her name and also her face. Thank you very much.